You keep asking the universe for signs, but what if it's been answering all along? Just not to the version of you that's asking. The universe doesn't speak in words, it listens in frequencies. And your frequency is not what you wish for, it's what you are. Every thought, every tension in your body, every quiet doubt becomes a silent broadcast you send into the field. Here's the strange truth. The more desperately you try to manifest something, the more the universe steps back. Not to punish you, but because your message arrives scrambled. You can't send out a signal of fear and expect it to translate as abundance. The field reads vibration, not vocabulary. Imagine standing on a cliff, waving a lantern for rescue. The flame flickers, but the wind keeps shifting. From above, your message blurs into smoke. The helicopter passes uncertain. Was it a call for help or just another light in the distance? That's how mixed frequencies feel to the universe. Undecodable. You were told to think positive, to visualize, to ask, and you shall receive. But no one told you that asking isn't verbal, it's vibrational. You can chant, "I'm abundant," 1,000 times. Yet if your nervous system hums with fear, the signal you're sending is still scarcity. Energy doesn't listen to your sentences. It listens to your state. And that's why so many people feel betrayed by manifestation. They do the rituals, the vision boards, the affirmations, the meditations, but nothing shifts because deep down, their frequency is split. One part believes, the other doubts. One side reaches, the other hides. The field can't translate contradiction. Think of a radio trying to play two songs at once. You don't hear harmony, you hear noise. That's what happens when your energy is incoherent. The universe, precise and intelligent, only responds to coherence. Anything less dissolves into static. Now pause and feel. What are you truly broadcasting right now? Not what you're writing in your journal, but what your body is saying beneath the surface. Are you open or guarded, trusting or tensed? Because the field listens only to what you are being. This is where the quantum layer begins. In physics, a particle exists in all possible states until observed. It is both everything and nothing, until attention collapses it into form. Your desires exist the same way, waiting to be observed through the lens of your frequency. Observe with doubt, and you solidify the version where it fails. Observe with fear, and you lock in resistance. But observe with coherence, where belief, emotion, and body align, and the probability collapses into the reality you've been reaching for. All along, manifestation isn't broken. It's always working, perfectly, consistently, precisely. The universe is responding, just not to what you say you want, but to what you embody every single moment. Neuroscience now confirms what mystics have whispered for centuries. 95% of your patterns are unconscious. You may affirm abundance with 5% of your mind while your body, humming in survival, transmits the opposite. You can't outthink a heart that's clenched in defense, or outright a nervous system locked in scarcity. That's why true manifestation begins not with thought, but with regulation, with coherence, a state where your mind, emotions, and energy move as one current. When that happens, your signal becomes music again. And the universe, ever listening, responds in perfect harmony, not with delay, but with precision. And yet, the moment you begin to fine-tune your inner signal, the universe starts to echo back with equal precision. Imagine walking into a hall filled with hundreds of radios. Each one hums a different song. One plays static, another sings of love, another cries with warning. You try to tune into the love song, but your fingers keep turning the dial, shifting between stations every few seconds. That's what your energy looks like when your emotions are at war with your intentions. You say you want love, but your heart flinches at the thought of rejection. You say you want abundance, but your nervous system contracts every time you check your bank account. You say you're ready for expansion, but your body still holds the memory of survival. This is vibrational dissonance. When the music of your mind and the rhythm of your body play in different keys, and the universe, ever exact, only hears clarity. Let's step into science for a moment. In 1991, researchers discovered nearly 40,000 neurons in the human heart, a literal heart brain. It doesn't just beat, it communicates, it emits a coherent electromagnetic field that extends far beyond the skin, interacting with the fields of others. Your heart isn't just reacting to emotion, it's broadcasting it. So when your mind says yes, but your heart whispers no, the quantum field receives a signal of confusion, a melody tangled in static. That's why so many people speak affirmations, visualize, script their dreams, and still see no shift. Because the head is writing one story while the body keeps reading another, the field doesn't respond to words. It responds to frequency purity. And purity isn't poetic, it's physics. When two waves align, they amplify. When they clash, they cancel each other into silence. That silence is what you experience when you're vibrating both yes and no at once. Now look deeper. The subconscious mind runs the show with old recordings. Every heartbreak, every loss, every fear becomes a track it loops on repeat. Even when your conscious mind declares, "I deserve more," your body hums the tune of the past. Joe Dispenza calls this living in the memory of the known, where your energy keeps replaying yesterday's pain instead of composing tomorrow's potential. So even if your words spell expansion, your field whispers fear. And the quantum field, ever neutral, ever precise, answers the louder voice Neville Goddard once said, "Feeling is the secret. You must dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled, not as a fantasy, but as embodiment." The field doesn't respond to begging or hoping, it mirrors being. You don't attract what you want, you become it. You align your emotions and physiology with the frequency of already having it, not pretending, but remembering your wholeness. That's alignment. That's coherence. That's the mirror reflecting you as complete, not in longing. Here's where the real confusion begins. Most people send mixed instructions to the universe every hour of the day. One moment you visualize your dream life, the next you scroll through comparison, shrinking inside. One breath you meditate in gratitude, the next you question your worth. These microfractures in vibration create a fragmented broadcast, and the field responds not to your highest moments, but to your dominant one. And here's the twist. Few notice, most manifestations are born not from abundance, but from lack. You say, "I want more money," but the undertone hums, "because I don't have enough." You affirm, "I am loved," but deep down the vibration trembles, "because I feel alone." So the universe, which doesn't decode words but emotion, simply reflects what it feels. The ache beneath your affirmation, not as punishment, but as precision. That's why even while trying to stay positive, many end up amplifying the very emptiness they wish to escape. The field cannot mishear you. It only echoes what you're truly being. Now let's go deeper, with a metaphor that will shift the way you see creation itself. Think of the quantum field as a cosmic GPS. You set a destination, abundance, love, peace, yet your internal coordinates are vibrating fear, scarcity, or unworthiness. The system doesn't know which way to guide you. You cannot arrive at joy while your signal recalibrates to doubt every few minutes. A GPS functions by triangulating clear signals from multiple satellites. Your life operates the same way. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions scatter in different directions, you drift, you loop, you stall. Manifestation becomes an endless journey that goes nowhere. But here's the deeper layer. Neuroscience shows that your emotional state shapes your perception. What you feel literally filters what you see. If worry is your baseline, opportunities pass unnoticed. Synchronicities appear, yet your mind writes them off as coincidence. The quantum field may be responding, but your awareness isn't tuned to receive. You become blind to the very answers already in motion. The solution isn't harder effort, it's stillness. It's tuning in until your true signal emerges. Strip away the noise. Notice where you are split, where you desire something but secretly doubt your worth, where you call for love but guard your heart, where you pray for abundance yet replay fear in your mind. Only when these hidden contradictions come into the light can you choose a single frequency, one stable, coherent, and unmistakable to the field. In the next chapter, we explore why the universe isn't responding to what you ask, but to what you observe. And once you see what you're actually observing most of the time, you'll understand that the power was never in the asking. It's in how your consciousness watches itself. Something is watching you right now, not a person, not an external presence, but your own awareness. And quantum physics reveals a truth spiritual traditions have echoed for centuries. Observation changes reality. The double-slit experiment proves it. Unobserved, light exists as a wave. Infinite, unformed, pure potential. The moment it's observed, it collapses into particles, into matter, into reality. Now replace the photon with your life, your relationships, your money, your health, your sense of self. All exist in superposition, a sea of endless possibilities, until your observation collapses one outcome and eliminates all others. But here's the part no one emphasizes. You're not observing with your eyes. You're observing with focus, expectation, and emotional attention. Wherever your observation lands, one version of reality crystallizes, while every other possibility fades. This is not metaphor. It is physics. The universe isn't out there, waiting to act upon you. It is entangled with your awareness, responding moment by moment. When you say, "Why does this always happen to me?" That's not a rhetorical question. It's a command, a collapse, a vote, a frequency that scans the quantum field and finds its match. Slow down and feel that. You wake up, and before your feet touch the floor, your mind has already begun observing. Maybe it's worry about money, regret from yesterday, or the dread of what the day might bring. Those thoughts, paired with the emotions behind them, form a frequency. That frequency becomes an observation, and that observation begins collapsing the day into the shape of your feelings, not your desires. So even if you later affirm abundance, the field has already received your first signal. Lack, and the field is faithful. It responds consistently to your dominant observer state. The universe doesn't eavesdrop on your wishes, it mirrors your gaze. Consider this story. A young man wanted wealth. Each morning he journaled, visualized, and repeated affirmations. Yet nothing shifted. In fact, things worsened. One day during meditation, he noticed a quiet inner sentence repeating, almost invisibly, "I'm afraid it will never happen." That tiny, automatic, emotionally charged sentence was his true observation. That was the frequency collapsing his reality. His problem wasn't wanting abundance. It was observing from a place where abundance didn't exist. This is where most people get stuck. They think they manifest from desire, but they're really manifesting from fear. Fear of failure, fear of disappointment, fear of their hopes being crushed. That fear becomes the observer. Not the vision board, not the affirmations, but the emotional state holding the gaze. The field doesn't respond to words or wishes. It responds to emotional attention. And attention, charged with feeling, collapses infinite possibilities into one outcome. Go further. Your subconscious, which drives over 90% of your behavior, is always observing. What it observes most are patterns. That's how it keeps you safe. If you grew up in scarcity, financial stress feels normal. If you experience betrayal, distrust feels true. If you failed before, doubt becomes a default expectation. These repeated observations collapse similar realities over and over, not as punishment, but as trained responses. Here's the game changer. You can train your observer to collapse a different reality. Bruce Lipton showed that perception, not genes, governs your life. And perception is trained observation. Shift the lens through which you observe, and your body chemistry changes. Your thoughts realign, your emotions radiate differently, your frequency shifts, probabilities around you reorder. Neville Goddard called this assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It's not pretending, it's a transformation of the observer. You begin to emotionally inhabit the reality of your desire as if it's already here. This isn't trickery. It's the only way to collapse the version where it exists. Anything less, waiting, hoping, needing, is observation of absence, and absence collapses into more absence. Here's the piece most people miss. Action alone doesn't change reality. Action taken from a fearful observer repeats the same outcome. It's not about doing, It's about being the one observing from the end, the one who enters a room already expecting to be chosen, the one opening a bank app already trusting there's more than enough, the one seeing challenges not as proof of failure, but evidence of breakthrough in motion. When you change how you observe, the world changes how it responds. And if you wonder, what if I don't believe it yet? What if I can't fake it? You don't have to fake it, you have to practice it. Observation is a habit. Each time you redirect your emotional focus from fear to trust, from lack to gratitude, from doubt to knowing, you train your inner observer to collapse a new version of reality. The more familiar that version becomes, the clearer the field reflects it back. So the next time you ask, why isn't it working? Pause and notice what frequency you are truly sending. Look closely at the gaze behind the question. The universe is not broken, it's working perfectly. It simply reflects the observer, the one who is watching it. In the next chapter, you'll learn how to recalibrate your entire vibrational system into quantum coherence, becoming a single clear signal the universe has been waiting for. There's a reason your manifestations feel inconsistent, sometimes appearing, sometimes vanishing, often arriving warped or incomplete. It's not punishment, it's not a test. It's because your signal wavers. You are broadcasting from multiple frequencies at once. When those signals compete, the field doesn't respond with clarity. It responds with silence, or worse, mirrors your internal noise. But imagine a different possibility. What if your thoughts, emotions, nervous system, and energetic field all vibrated in harmony? One coherent wave moving in a single direction without contradiction. This is quantum coherence, the most potent state a human can inhabit. To grasp it, you must see beneath the surface. Your heart produces an electromagnetic field over 60 times stronger than your brain. This field carries not just electrical impulses, but emotional information. Every beat in fear ripples incoherence into your field. Every beat in trust radiates order. Your brain, wired to survival, matches its patterns to the heart's rhythm. When the heart is chaotic, the mind becomes noisy. When the heart is calm, clarity emerges. Emotional coherence comes first. Mental clarity follows. Consider this story. A man spent years chasing success. He read books, attended seminars, meditated, repeated affirmations. Yet inside, tension gripped him. His body was tight, breath shallow, nervous system alert. What if it doesn't work? What if I'm not good enough? What if I lose it all? Those thoughts, paired with sensations, constriction in the chest, unrest in the gut, rehearsed failure while he imagined abundance. That is contradiction. Contradiction does not command the quantum field. Here's the pivot. The body has memory, emotional patterns, trauma, doubt, guilt. They live in muscles, breathing habits, chemical loops. Until these are shifted, not just mentally but physiologically, your signal cannot stabilize. You can affirm your dreams endlessly, but if your body still loops survival codes from yesterday, it will broadcast the past. That's why many manifest in circles. Thoughts change, state unchanged. Quantum coherence is entering a vibrational state where your body becomes proof of your future. Your breath, posture, emotions, and inner narrative align with one timeline. Not theoretically, but biologically. HeartMath Institute calls this heart-brain coherence. It's measurable. The heart's rhythm harmonizes, sending signals to the brain, shifting it into alpha or theta waves. The same frequencies that open access to the subconscious and enhance neuroplasticity. In this state, your immune system strengthens, your hormones balance, and your perception transforms. But more than that, your energy becomes clean, focused, and unmistakably clear. The field, always listening, begins to respond instantly. Think of coherence as tuning a laser. A regular flashlight scatters its light in every direction, wasting power. A laser, however, takes that same light and aligns it so precisely it can cut through steel. Your energy works the same way. When your emotions are scattered, you're the flashlight, bright but unfocused. When your thoughts, feelings, breath, and actions move as one vibrational truth, you become the laser, focused enough to slice through timelines, powerful enough to shape reality. So how do you reach that state? You begin by interrupting the old signals, the automatic emotional reactions that hijack your energy before you even notice them. The fastest portal is the breath. Take 3 slow, deliberate breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. This simple rhythm begins resetting the nervous system, softening its reflexes. Then bring awareness to your heart, not as an idea but as sensation. Place your hand on your chest. Feel it beating. Now summon a single elevated emotion: gratitude, love, certainty, not as a performance, but as vibration. You don't need to believe in magic. The field is listening regardless. When you sustain this coherence for just 3 to 5 minutes, your brain waves shift, your heart rhythms smooth out, and your chemistry begins mirroring the reality of your future right now. The field doesn't speak in timelines, it speaks in frequencies. If you feel that your dream is distant, that very feeling becomes the signal. But when you become the dream emotionally and energetically, the signal becomes now. And now is the only moment in which reality collapses. Here's the simplest truth: you don't attract what you think about. You attract what your nervous system is ready to receive. If it's coded for chaos, it will reject peace. If it's wired for lack, it won't notice abundance. If it's expecting rejection, it will sabotage love. Coherence is the antidote. It doesn't just manifest, it reprograms your entire system to hold a new reality without breaking under its weight. That's why coherence isn't a one-time practice. It's a default state you install. So here's your activation moment. Whisper it, write it, or type it. I broadcast only one signal now. Let the field read your clarity. Let your body feel what it's like to choose one frequency, not 50. Let your nervous system rest, because rest itself is the vibration of receiving. The more you rest in alignment, the more the quantum field collapses realities that resonate with that peace. Not later, but now. And coherence, as powerful as it is, isn't the end. It's the doorway. In the next chapter, we move beyond it, into the exact moment where potential becomes real, where countless versions of you exist, and where choice determines everything. This is the leap most never take. But once you understand how to collapse confusion into precision, manifestation stops being random. It becomes art. Because right now, infinite versions of you exist. Not metaphorically, literally. One is radiant and strong, overflowing with vitality. Another is drained and weary. One is wealthy and fearless. Another is trapped in scarcity. One is deeply loved, safe, seen. Another is still waiting to be chosen. All of them are real. All of them live simultaneously within the quantum field, not as fantasy, but as probabilities. None of them are guaranteed because they only solidify when you do one thing: choose with precision. The quantum field doesn't respond to effort or longing, it responds to clarity. Yet most people are tangled in mental noise and emotional contradiction, too blurred to collapse any single reality. They want love but brace for betrayal. They want abundance but fear their own power. They want expansion but can't stop clinging to safety. And so the universe, receiving no clear instruction, collapses the only thing it can: confusion. But here's the hidden truth. Across centuries, sages, mystics, physicists, and consciousness pioneers have all said the same thing. The field doesn't choose for you. You do. You are not waiting on the universe. The universe is waiting for you to become a coherent, committed observer, someone capable of holding the signal of a new reality without fracture. Let's unpack this through science. In the double-slit experiment, an unobserved particle exists as a wave, pure, fluid, infinite potential. The moment it's measured, it behaves as a particle. That act of observation collapses the wave. What determines which possibility becomes reality? The observer. Not just the focus, not just the aim, but the vibrational state, the emotional commitment, the clarity of the one watching. Now bring this into your life. Every time you hold a vision of your desired future with emotional certainty, physical alignment, and mental clarity, you are collapsing a potential. You are transforming possibility into form. When that focus is precise, when your field is quiet and coherent, reality bends to meet it. It has no choice. In the language of the universe, clarity is law. There's a catch. You must become emotionally unavailable to all other versions of yourself. That version who is always waiting, doubting, checking for signs, fearing it might not work, you stop feeding it. Not with resistance, but with transcendence. Every time you observe the version of you that is hesitant, unworthy, or unsure, you collapse it again and again with heartbreaking precision. To break free, you step into what I call the frequency of decision. Decision is not a thought. It's a visceral, cellular command that says, this is who I am now. No backup plans, no waiting, no asking, just being. When your entire system aligns around one identity, one timeline, one chosen self, the field reorganizes. People show up, money flows, opportunities snap into place. Why? Because the wave has collapsed, and it collapsed to match you. Here's a practice to step into this state. Find a quiet space, sit comfortably, close your eyes, begin slow, intentional breaths. Inhale through the nose for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale through the mouth for 6. Repeat until your body softens, your mind quiets. Then bring to awareness the version of you already living the reality you desire. Not as fantasy, but as a fully felt experience. See how they move, how they breathe, how they occupy space. Feel their certainty. Become them in every cell. Breathe, speak. Notice their calm, their posture, their certainty. But here's the key. Don't imagine that version of you as something distant. Step inside them. Feel their energy merge with yours, wrapping around your nervous system like a second skin. Match their breath. Let your heartbeat sink. Let your body begin to believe, even for a few seconds, that this isn't a version you're chasing. It's the one you're already seeing from. When the emotion locks in, stay there. Let it imprint. Let the field feel your precision. Let your biology take a snapshot of that timeline. The more you rehearse this, the more that version becomes your baseline. You're not pretending. You're collapsing into truth. Here's what happens beneath the surface. Your brain rewires its neural networks to reflect the new identity. Your heart emits a magnetic field harmonized with elevated emotion. Your cells release chemical messengers aligned with your chosen frequency. Your energetic signal, the one the field listens to, sharpens. It becomes unmistakable, and that's when the universe answers. The field doesn't measure time, it measures clarity. It waits for alignment without contradiction. And the moment that clarity becomes embodied emotion, not imagination, the quantum fabric reorganizes. This isn't magic, it's coherence in motion, but there's a loop to close. You cannot collapse a new reality while still invested in the old one. The field reads your investments, not your declarations. Withdraw your energy from suffering, from waiting, from someday. Not because it's wrong, because it's complete. That timeline has nothing left to teach you. You are not here to prove your worth through delay. You are here to transmit precision through presence. Ask yourself, not with hope, but with power, which version of me am I choosing to collapse today? That version is already broadcasting. The question is, will you tune in or keep listening to the static of who you used to be? Your new self is not a goal, it is a signal already in motion. When that signal stabilizes, you do not chase your manifestation. You become the reality the universe cannot ignore. You do not wait for the universe to catch up. The version of you you've been seeking is already calling out. Quiet, consistent, unwavering, the signal of completion, the vibration of embodiment, no longer driven by desire, but by identity. And that signal, your future self, is not somewhere far away. It is here, beneath the static. The work is not to find it. The work is to remove what distorts it. You were never meant to force reality into alignment. You were meant to become the frequency reality recognizes. Quantum manifestation is not attraction, it is transmission. The question is no longer, how do I get there? It is, am I stable enough to stay there? Manifestation rarely arrives in fireworks. Sometimes it whispers, a calm that wasn't there before, a door opening that once felt locked, a message arriving right when your energy says, I'm ready. These aren't coincidences. They are confirmations. The field updates constantly based on your vibration, and your vibration isn't occasional feeling. It is what you normalize. The universe does not give you what you want. It gives you what feels like home. For many, lack has been home. Anxiety, striving, proving, all familiar frequencies. So when higher timelines appear, they may feel unsafe. Not because you don't want them, but because receiving them hasn't felt safe yet. That is the hidden cost of incoherence. You manifest beauty, but cannot hold it. True shift happens when your nervous system no longer flinches at having what you ask for. When abundance feels natural, not miraculous. When love feels like alignment, not luck. When peace is no longer a pursuit, but your resting state. That is when your signal stabilizes. That is when you stop oscillating between timelines. That is when reality begins to mirror your highest self, effortlessly. Anchor this by ritualizing the frequency. Each morning, before the world tells you who to be, breathe into alignment. Remember what it feels like to be the version of you who is already chosen, already whole. Let that identity shape your posture, your decisions, your pace. And when fear whispers, listen, but do not tune in. You are already tuned higher. This is mastery, not perfection, but persistence in your chosen signal. If this journey has shown you anything, from the observer effect to collapsing timelines, let it be this. You were never broken, never behind. You have simply been broadcasting an outdated frequency. Now with awareness, you can change the station. Not later. Now. The field responds in real time, not to effort, but to essence. You are now broadcasting one truth, and one truth only. It is already done.